Okay, that's it. We're live for the episode 29. That's pretty great of the Security Bread podcast. Hi to everyone who is watching us live. For all of the others, you know that this will be re-uploaded on YouTube and will be available as audio on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever. Today with me, there's Dorota. Hi, Dorota. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you.
I on purpose avoided to pronounce your surname just because I'm afraid to say it wrong. But I think it's Kozlovska. Is that correct?
Yeah, Kozłowska is perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
with the Polish letters, that would be Kozłowska, but like I think it's like too complicated. Let's not go there.
Okay. I will pretend I got what's the difference in your pronunciation and mine, but sorry for that. Just I'm very bad with this stuff. But yeah, that's great. Thank you for accepting to join my little project today. Hopefully, it will not be too bad for you. But yeah, I'm sure I will appreciate it, and also all the people watching this will definitely appreciate it. So would you mind just briefly introduce yourself for the public?
How briefly?
You decide. The
So-
show is yours.
I was born in
Okay, maybe that's a little too long, but yeah, you decide.
So yeah, I to make this like really short. So I'm a penetration tester, but like actually I'm in between jobs, so that job description might change soon. But
Okay.
just like not saying anything yet. But and I'm called the Wonder Woman of cyber because of many things that happened in my life, and like I I see myself as such, and like going through all the, I don't know, problems in my life and like challenges. Then I overcome all of those and like grew out of the problems bigger than I was before. Like I don't know. So to make this short, I'm a penetration tester, and like yeah, I think that's enough.
Yeah, that's great. Actually, this sounds a very nice and interesting nickname. I would say. Do you call it a nickname? Is that okay? Um, feel so.
It's like kind of like a persona, maybe like,
Okay.
but yeah, nickname is cool.
Okay. Persona. Yeah, that makes sense. That's very cool. I actually used your, Wonder Woman picture for the thumbnail of the video on YouTube. Hopefully, that's appreciated. That's very cool that you're joining me. um, just as a very brief description, I take this project as just an excuse to take me updated because I have to force myself to read some security news, something that I feel like I should do anyway. But if I have an excuse to go live and talk about it, at least I have to do it, no matter what. And the other thing is that I get to talk with cool people like you, of course. And it's true. It's actually true. I will definitely not do this if I don't force myself. And I feel like I can learn a lot in the conversation, right? It's not only just reading the news, but if I talk with someone with just a different background, different knowledge, just a different experience, right? I can definitely learn a lot in that process. And if we do this live, a lot of people can watch and listen to this, and maybe can also learn something in the process, but also maybe just commenting in there, contribute to the conversation, and everything just gets better.
But
So the
can I comment here? Like it's actually a good idea, and I was like scared. I was pretty shy and like scared of public speaking before, and like since started being invited into podcasts, like my first three was like I was terrified and like, and then after each one I think I grew, and like I'm pretty relaxed now. So I think you're going like it's a good idea. And also I have like an idea that I would like to create a YouTube channel where I explain vulnerabilities, or like and I had like the same reason as you. So I would learn better if I know how to explain it, and if I will do it like live, then, or like online, then I would have a reason to do it well, and like put all of my heart in that. So yeah, it's like I really like the idea of the channel.
That's nice. Thank you. And yes, some sort of forced commitment, right? If you have to do it for the people watching this, you actually have to do it, and you can put some more efforts into it. So I really think it's a good idea. And definitely, if you learn something in the process, that's definitely there's definitely some value out of it, right?
Sure.
So that's great. The idea here is that I'm going to show my screen with a few articles that I've collected during the last week, with some recent events that could be interesting to talk about. And for you watching this live, you have the comments in there that I really encourage you to use. I'm gonna have a read at them, and if there's any questions, any interesting contribution, I can also post that on the screen, and we can talk together. And also remember that if you just hit that like button and would like to share this or subscribe to the channel, it will be just very, very helpful, and will just let me know that I should keep doing this. Maybe invite cool people like Dorota more. Maybe invite Dorota once again at some point if she doesn't hate me after this. But yeah, thank you for that. And we're going to start with the first news. Just give me a second. Where's my screen? There's my screen. Here it is. Okay, that's great. So, first article of the day. It's kind of interesting for anyone who has watched one of the previous episodes, because we're talking about the infamous Flipper Zero. So the Flipper Zero, if you, by the way, Dorota, I like to explain every keyword, every term I use. So the Flipper Zero, if you don't know about it, it's basically a tool that you can buy for very few dollars online, which help you, let's say, exploiting any or most of those radio-based connections and protocols with a number of different ways, right? And it's being in the news multiple times recently because some discussions between also some countries, specifically Canada, where
Yeah.
they were planning to ban it, right, completely because of potential harm to the to cars, specifically to the car industry. And we spoke actually about the news in one of the previous episodes, and this is a nice follow-up because recent research from a couple of researchers in there. I'm not gonna try pronouncing them as well, but I will share the link about for this article in the description if you want to deep dive on yourself later. Something that is highly suggested. Basically, they found out that using the Flipper Zero, but the of course you can use any other computer, let's say, to do the same. They figured out how to get access to a Tesla car, and of course Tesla is always a big name out there. What they did was basically doing a man in the middle attack, something that where you put yourself in the middle of the connection and steal the credential to access the endpoint. In this case, the endpoint is actually the car. Basically, what they did was creating a. I used to call it like an evil twin or just rogue access point. Basically, a new SSID, a new Wi-Fi connection called Tesla Guest, which is a common name for Tesla users, so that they invite the victim to access that Wi-Fi network. Then they present them a phishing website, that is mimicking the real Tesla application, and then they basically use it to steal username, password, and then also the MFA code to access the application. And then after they get access to the application, they can register a new phone, so a new smartphone, right, that can be used as a key to unlock a Tesla car. So I thought this was interesting on a number of levels, right? Because it's actually a very old technique. If you think about it, it's man in the middle is not a new thing. Phishing is not a new thing, but they appear to be always very effective, even with very new fancy toys like Tesla cars. Something that I believe it's not something that you know it better than me as a pen tester. It's not something that you test on a daily basis, right? You don't have to break in cars very often. Unfortunately, it could be actually very interesting. And the fact that it is involved once again this Flipper Zero tool. I would like to discuss a little more how bad it could be. Is it very bad? I feel that different people have different perceptions of this kind of tools being sold openly, right, that anyone can actually access to it. So I will stop talking because I always talk too much. What's your first, what was your first thought when reading this? Did you
Yeah.
have an idea?
So that, like I believe that there's like some kind of a crusade against the Flipper Zero device, but like you can also do that, like even the article is visible, you can also
Right.
do it with Raspberry Pi on like an Android phone, and so you don't really need Flipper Zero. And there's like, I think it's a crusade that may be harmful because it's not only like the attackers use that, but cybersecurity people, like even I want to buy one, so we like people learn to do things there. So it's not really, I wouldn't say that it's like malicious tool, but like could be used maliciously, but like I don't think like yeah, that's like a yeah, as if you, for example, I don't know, it's like a witch hunt, so, you're afraid of something, you don't understand how it works,
Right.
so let's burn all the witches and like no problem at all. But like you see that, like yeah,
Yeah. No,
because
no, absolutely.
you don't understand something and like you are afraid of it, it doesn't really make it a bad thing, right? It's just like your perception of it.
Yeah, no, that's true. I feel it's like, being against the um, how do you call it, the Swiss knife, right? The one which with so many tools in it, just because there's a knife in there that could be used maliciously. But you can also take a cooking knife and do the same harmful stuff. The point is that it is a tool. It's not malicious by itself. It's malicious if you use it maliciously. So it's about the intent of the person using it. It's not about the tool itself. Now, it is true that this specific tool was built exactly for that purpose, but in the security industry, in the cybersecurity industry, we have this such tools and software and hardware that are meant for testing purposes, right? Because and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Dorota, but the point is that if you don't test something, you cannot find out how secure it is and how to improve the security of the thing. In this case, we have a Tesla car, right? The fact that someone is testing it and it's finding vulnerabilities, it means that someone from
It's
Tesla will
it's vulnerable.
hopefully
Yeah,
eventually
it should
fix it.
they should fix it and not ban the device that is possible. Yeah, that we can use, because you can use all kinds of devices, but the flaw is still there. So
Yeah.
yeah, actually, a good point.
I mean, in this specific case, I think it's there somewhere in the article. I will not find it right now, but they actually say, about the report the security researchers sent to Tesla, that it was something like out of scope. I kind of got that they are not gonna fix this, and I do not really understand why. So maybe there's another, let's say, challenge when finding a vulnerability that is, kind of explaining the developers or just the company that that thing is worth to be fixed. It's worth to take some effort in fixing the kind of vulnerability. And this is a topic that I think is pretty interesting, at least to me. um, did you ever add this, a similar issue where you find a vulnerability, it's actually quite bad, and at some point you just face a wall where uh, from the other side they decide it's not worth it to actually to actually fix it? Is that a thing or not?
Yeah. So because I was a tester before, like a physical one for 5 years, so
Oh, nice.
I have a lot of experience with like finding. It's like actually really frustrating to be a tester because you just want to help and like like offer quality and like and yeah, you do it like give it all your heart to find like all the flaws and like all the holes and write the report, write the like the descriptions, and then for example developer says to you, oh that's like too descriptive, like I want sentence is enough, and I just like spent like 3 hours like writing and like to explain it well and like pictures, like everything is there. And he says like yeah it's one sentence, but I kind of understand he's busy. But my point is like I do have an experience with like me finding things and like I don't know, not blaming the developers, but like the business part being lazy and not, oh we don't care about that, or like yeah it's not big of a vulnerability enough, like and then I get like another retest and I get all of the same vulnerabilities there. So it's like what am I doing here? Like I feel like I'm wasting time sometimes, but like yeah okay.
Yeah, I feel like there's a way we can move this conversation, which is probably a little too big. So I don't want to, you know, um, take the path too much. But I'm definitely interested in the fact that, um, you know, many people interested in the industry, and many people in the industry, they are interested in the technical part, of course, right? I am a technical person myself. I'm not a tester, but I'm more into detection and response. The thing is that we get into the working environment thinking about, okay, I want to work with computers, I want to finding vulnerabilities, or whatever, maybe securing system or whatever. The thing is that at some point we all need to get into communication as well, right? Because if you cannot communicate, even either in your report or just when presenting it to the, I don't know, managers or who is in charge of the application, if you don't communicate it correctly, or let's say effectively enough, eventually your technical work will not be used, or will not be leveraged as it could be, as it should be, right? Do you feel that? You know your technical skills have to be associated with also some level of soft skills as well?
Oh, for sure. Uh, but yeah, actually, like I want to answer that question, but before that, I want to talk about a bit about reporting. So,
Right. Go on.
just like I thought that yeah, you just so on the point of pen tester, so you give them the report and like here your job is done, so you don't really maybe I take it too far for myself and like to emotionally, but by caring like what happens next. But when you give them your report, that's like your work is done. You gave your like your everything there, and like what they will do with the report, that's not your concern anymore. So maybe I should look at this way. Just thank you for helping me realize actually. And like soft skills, I think they're really important. I don't know, like for penetration tester, if you have to talk with business and obviously, but like with my physical, functional tester, like experience, like before security, I did had to like I found like a bug and I had to go to the developer and like say, oh look, this is the bug, and explain to him like what I found. And usually they say, oh, it's a feature, like it works great, yeah, don't worry about it, because they don't really want to put the work to fix it. But then you have to really negotiate, like put your like kind side of your character, I guess, to explain to them like, yeah, we care about quality, right? We just want to fix this, and like could you maybe help me with that, like fix this part? So you just I think you have to be no nice and like I don't know, don't want to say a bad word, but like just don't be a dick and like just be nice to other people and have some skills of negotiation maybe. And yeah, actually, I think that's like really important to just not like sit in the basement like in the black hoodie and like hack all the stuff, but just like be able to talk with business, talk with people, talk with your colleagues, and like yeah, create like a good work environment for yourself and like for the team.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. That's great. I mean, of course, I actually personally think that one can really excel in a thing if you really go vertical in that thing alone, right? So most of the best technical people I know, they are very very focused. They do that very very well for a long time, and they become maybe the best experts out there. But the thing is that if you cannot communicate, and this is my personal opinion, of course, if you cannot communicate your work, right, you did just half of the job. Because if you want your work to have some value, to be used and reused by others, and to actually improve things, software in this case, or hardware, or whatever, you need to be able to communicate. I mean, even something as simple as the video that I just played here, right, with a very simple presentation on how the researchers found and perpetrated the attack and the vulnerability. I think that's part of it, right? If you cannot make few slides in this case, and very, with few words explain what you did and why it's pretty bad, right? No one is gonna do anything about it. So yeah, just a little contribution to that.
Yeah,
uh,
like actually, like not everyone is like could be on the same level, like technically, and if you understand it, like I don't know, I don't know if I could do this attack on my own, like probably like not this second, but if I do some research, then probably yes. But if you don't explain it well, like to the business specifically, then yeah, nothing will be done because no one will understand. And like, okay, you found something, yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, okay, what do we eat for lunch? And that's that.
yeah, absolutely. Like in this case, I mean, probably they did a very good job in presenting and explaining, and still it wasn't enough. Sometimes it happens, right? It's not always on your side, the problem. But yeah, you did your best. Well, let's try to do our best every time.
Yeah, but
um
actually, like, sorry to,
go.
I'm
Don't
doing
worry.
that a lot. So I also like on the article there, have like I think a good idea that they to require a physical Tesla card key.
Yeah.
So you have like another layer on top of the like all the online stuff. So you have like a physical card. I don't know how they envision it, but for me it looks like you get like a card like in secure mail and delivered. Like you have to sign your name like to
Mhm.
get it, and then you have like scratch cards there, and like there's a number and you scratch it and no one sees what the number is, and you scratch it and like, oh, that's the number, you put it like, yeah, or secure it. I don't know. But actually that's like a good idea, like not only like two-factor authentication, like uh, online stuff, but yeah, also like a physical security part. Yeah.
Yeah, like their point, if I got it right, their point is that the missing part in all of it is that when if you get access to the application, right, you have a user, and then you want to register a new smartphone, is a key to your Tesla car, you should be authenticated some way. Just the fact that you are a user should not be enough, and you should have another, an additional factor of authentication. And since apparently Tesla user have some sort of physical card that they can use. Oh, hi, cat. That for anyone who's just listening to this, I'm sorry for you, but we have a very nice cat in the Dorta's background. Um, so the point is that you don't have to use that physical card, even though that's more secure. The thing is that you just use your smartphone, and the smartphone thing is less secure than that. So if you just require the usage of that physical card in order to authenticate you, that's gonna be fixing, or at least securing the flow a little more than what it is right now. But apparently for Tesla people at the moment, this is okay like it is. It's their product, their problem, I will say. But that's it. This is, as I said, pretty interesting. But we have a few other news to talk about tonight for us. So I will jump to the next one very quickly. So we can have actually some more conversation about multi-factor authentication, because this is the main topic for this second news of today. So this is something that, once again, we already mentioned multiple times in previous episodes, regarding we can use multiple different things as a multi-factor authentication, right? We can use a physical token, we can use an app in your smartphone, but many not providers, but many applications still enables you to use an SMS as a multi-factor authentication. Something that it's cool to have as an alternative, I will say, because some people maybe in some specific scenario cannot use something else for some reason, but it's actually less secure than all of the others. Most of the time, the reason why security people say that is that it's a very old protocol, the one that enables SMS. And can be spoofed, it can be maybe sniffed, it can be exploited in multiple ways. So it's the least you should, the least one you should choose when you have all of the different alternatives. But this time we have something more, I will say. This is not the usual way we think it can be exploited. So the thing is that another security researcher, um, they do some monitoring across the internet about databases hosted in cloud environments, right? And specifically looking for openly accessible databases, something that unfortunately it's very common. And what they did find this time was a database from I think it's some sort of telecommunication company, or just provider that is actually delivering an infrastructure for SMS in this specific case. And they basically uploaded their entire database of SMS messages on a cloud database that for a very long time it was actually completely open. So anyone who knew the IP address, who knew that it was there, so anyone else who was actually monitoring for something different could just go in there, read all of it, and could see quite live all of the new messages of their users. So that also includes not only I will be also kind of bothered about personal data and whatever, but it also includes, of course, any OTP, any MFA sent via SMS, from any application, WhatsApp, or I don't know who used it in the last years, Facebook, or they mentioned TikTok at some point. But technically, any application using SMS and using that provider, um, you know, uh, will have their OTPs basically public at some point. So this, I would say, it's pretty big. It's not something new, once again, because we see cloud resources misconfigured and exposed pretty often. But this lets you lets you think about two things. Once again, MFA, it's yeah, unfortunately, also that is not 100% secure. There are ways to exploit even if you are using MFA. Um, and on the other side, I really want to talk about a little bit just misconfigurations, right? Yeah, once again, so you've been a penetration tester. You are, I would say, most of the time looking for vulnerabilities. So something that is not, I will say, um, like the developer didn't want to put in there. It's just a mistake. It's just a bug. But misconfiguration is something else. Misconfiguration is someone who is not doing, I would say, their job in putting the right configurations in place so the thing is secure. So how much, in your experience, is about finding vulnerabilities, and how much is actually, it's not a vulnerability, but you didn't put a password in there. So it's still pretty bad, but you just have to go in there and enable a password authentication or something. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sorry, I think this is pretty common that you have, I don't know, like servers or like whatever infrastructure that you get like a password that is default, and then you have to change the password, and left on default because someone is lazy. And I don't know, when you were talking about the article, I really thought about Jurassic Park and like the IT guy that just wanted the race, but yeah, didn't get one, and you just get a, yeah, you know what happened next. So it's just like I think it's just like, I don't know, maybe lazy people, maybe people that didn't really wanted to do the job, or like had something more interesting to do, or like were just like really, there were like too many tasks and it wasn't a priority for them. But it's like pretty scary that someone is like I don't know, you buy like expensive infrastructure, and there's like just one guy that doesn't configure it like well, I'll just like change the password. It's like I don't know, it blows my mind actually.
Yeah, it's something very I don't know. So it's not always very simple, right? Maybe in
Yeah.
this case it was, but of course can be different. But I mean, it's something that does not really involve very difficult troubleshooting or finding out how I can fix the bug in the code. So you have to rely on skilled people to do it. You know, many times it's just that no one didn't really care about, oh, let me see what kind of options I have here to secure my environment. And maybe I should just, you know, have a list of checks to enable via just a click of mouse. I mean, as I said, it's not always like that, because maybe, you know, it's a very fancy cloud infrastructure that you didn't use before. Maybe you always use the on-premises infrastructures before, and you are not accustomed. If you know what I'm talking about, you know, if you have a dashboard in front of you with 1,000 different options in there, maybe you don't know where to put your hands. But that just means that the company should care about also training for the people that are in charge of handling or just managing your infrastructure.
Yeah, and maybe
So
that there was just like should be like more than one person responsible for that, so they
maybe,
check each other, or like I don't know. So yeah.
I mean, another thing should be also that, you know, once again, it's not always technical stuff, but if you have some policies in place and someone who is in charge of ensuring you are complying with those policies, of course it's not everything by itself, but at least you have someone who is pushing the technical people to, oh, you know, do we have an authentication in there, or is just completely open, or did we do any additional options on top of what we did so far. So it's always I would say a list of different responsibilities, a list of different efforts by multiple people's multiple roles. So it's, I would say it's difficult to say, oh, it was that person's fault.
No, no, no. Yeah, yeah, yes. Yeah, I agree, because it could be like a multiple people, even like bad management, even, and like that person can feel like, yeah, I don't care.
So yeah, you know, security is complicated. No one is saying that, you know, it's very simple and you're just, you know, stupid if you're not doing your job. But we know as an industry what it should be done. So resources are out there, also pretty free, pretty open. So you just need a Google search to get some knowledge. And there are, of course, you know, a lot of companies that are willing to help you if you're willing to pay. So the thing is that, you know, I think, once again, this is something that I repeat very often, you know, awareness. Just being aware that if you buy a new technology, that also means that you should, you know, train your staff about that technology, about the fact that it's not just to save some money or just using it more easily, but you need to secure that. Even if you're paying, I don't know, Azure or AWS or Google or whatever, or Aruba or I don't know what, uh, you know, it's not about you pay for it and that's it. No, you pay for
Yeah.
it. Now you're in charge of understanding it, securing it, because the data that you are uploading in that infrastructure, they are still your data. You're still, you know, in charge of it, right? You're still responsible for it.
Yeah, so it's not like you buy expensive software and then you just put it in your SOC like a big screen, and it looks really cool, and like that's it. You can show it to like your colleagues from other companies and say, "Oh, I'm the big boss. I just spent like 3,000. I don't know, a lot of money. I want to put any amount there." But just have like the people have be prepared to train and like explain and like have the staff actually that knows how to use it. And yeah, eh, as you said before.
Yeah, I mean, it's I was laughing at the sock thing with the monitor because I see that it's pretty recurrent, also in different countries. Okay, so that's an interesting that's an interesting one. Um, so okay, there's the first topic I wanted to discuss about. The other thing is about the MFA itself, right? So I was like no long ago, the answer to any security question was okay, enable your MFA, right? That was the I would say the last thing, that if you do that, most of the time you are secure. If you are not secure, it's because you didn't enable the MFA. I saw that discussion a lot about a lot of different data leaks and breaches and whatever. And this news out here, it's another, I would say, clue that is not always the case, right? Even if you are enabling MFA, there are a lot of if and a lot of different scenarios that you should still consider, right? So, what do you think about that? Like, what's your perception around MFA? Um, is it useful, or it is not, or whatever?
Like in my opinion, I think it's definitely annoying. So, I think that's the point, that you enable it to make the attackers feel more annoyed. So then they have to try harder if they want, and usually they, I don't know, maybe they don't want to, and just like go ahead and like see for like an easier path for someone that didn't enable two-factor authentication. So I think that's the only point, that it has to be annoying for, yeah, for you too as well, but like for the attackers. So yeah, but I don't feel like this is like like a golden ticket, like a perfect scenario there, like yeah, magic wand of some kind. But it's just like something that we believe that works, but as we see, not really. So maybe there will be like some, now we are really into AI, so everyone talks about AI, so oh my god. But like in a year or two there'll be another like magic word, and like people will get triggered on that. So it just changes. Like we are people, and like we make mistakes, and I don't know, this is like maybe some kind of like a selling point to companies, and like I don't know, perfect advice to sell to your customers. But I don't know. I don't feel like this is like a solution for everything.
I feel like understanding what you just said is the, if you want, the secret in knowing security. The point is that there will probably never be um, the key to secure everything and to make you 100% secure. There will always be a new threat. There will always be a new security measure that you have to implement, and that's going to be a game that will never end, basically, right?
Yeah, like
uh,
the attackers are like really smart people. It's not like those like elementary kids or like whatever, but but they're like really smart people, and like they know what they're doing. So, and they have time and persistence. So if you work as a security specialist, you don't really, you just work 8 hours, and like I guess that's it. you, and they have like days on hours, or like attacks working. So I don't know, I think they may have a bit of an upper hand there as well. So
Absolutely, and just a thing that I want to add to that: attackers have motivation, because there's a lot of money most of the time involved, right? So if they can easily, let's say relatively easily, get $1 million or more dollars doing that, they're gonna spend time and efforts in finding a new way to breach your defenses, even if have a pretty good security posture. So probably the thing is that, okay, MFA is not the ultimate weapon, maybe, but it's another thing, and tomorrow we will have a new thing to implement, and it's gonna be like that forever. I mean, it's pretty. sad from one point of view, but it also means that maybe we still have you know plenty of work to do for a long time, which could be a nice thing
Yeah,
on
that's
other.
like we will have a job. So yeah, that's nice. That's pretty. I like to be not homeless. So
Right. Yeah, me too, definitely. So that's very cool. I mean, yeah, I just feel that um, all of this stuff can be pretty straightforward for people in the industry, but for people who are watching this from outside the industry, maybe those people who are interested in entering the industry, right, can be just a little overwhelming. Like every time there's a new thing, but that thing is exploited the day after. So what's the point? Like, what should they do? It's just part of the game, right?
yeah,
You just that probably that's the reason why we always tell that you have to study a lot. You have continuously, you know, increase your knowledge, because there will always be a new thing, a new technology, a new threat, a new attack, a new vulnerability. And yeah, it can be stressful, but it's also I would say rewarding sometime. So
yeah. I just wanted to say that like actually that's why I changed my occupation to go into cyber, because that's I really like learning, and I'm self motivated by that. But that if I have like another challenge and something new to learn, then I have like this I don't know, this windmill of
yeah,
motivation going on, and so you just have to look at this way that it's not like you learn like I don't know, you get an OCP and then oh you sit like this and like get your millions of dollars and you're the god of pen testing, but you just have to learn something new every day, and like it. Actually that should be your passion, and if you don't like writing reports, then you should also consider not being a penetration tester, or like I don't know, maybe. But yeah, just look at it, not don't take that personally, and like oh there's something new, I have to learn this and this and this, but just like lean into just like life is a journey, and that's what I
right.
say, learning every day and never give up, like those are my hashtags. And like I think that's like really true, because yeah, it's everything is changing, and like actually it's not really like in pen testing, like in security, like in life as well. So nothing really stays still, and you never go into the same river twice. So I'm just like saying smart things now, but you kept me going there, you see. And yeah, so yeah, don't take this personally, and like just do your best, and I guess that's it.
Yeah. No, that's I think that's great. I think that's the probably the secret in just handling, this kind of job, because it can be quite frustrating some time. Um, yeah, I will definitely tell more to this, but we are still at half of the plan, so we'll just shut up and move to the next one. Just once again, a little reminder: if you're watching this, if you're enjoying this, consider subscribing to the channel if you didn't already. If you did already, maybe share it with a friend, because it can be just very helpful. That's the only thing I'm asking you, so that I know that I have to continue and invite cool people like Dorota today. That said, uh, so we mentioned cloud environments, we mentioned AI at some point, and I'm really, I'm pushing hard in not taking an AI based news in every single episode, but unfortunately, for some reason, I keep doing it. It's always there, it's always in the news, but I guess it's just how it is nowadays. Even though it's slightly different this time. So we're talking about Microsoft, like we did multiple times before in this podcast, unfortunately. And the thing this time, it's actually somehow correlated to the previous news, meaning that someone found out that there was a GitHub page from Microsoft user, where they were uploading a lot of information regarding some AI models they are developing, and that they are making it like open source. So that's actually a fine thing. That's actually very how do you say it? Thanks, for to Microsoft and similar companies to actually put some open data in there, because it's helping a lot, the community and everything. But the thing is that, once again, who was doing that? Who was uploading the data? Was not really double checking what was uploading, because they also shared publicly some tokens, some authentication tokens, that also got people access to some internal data, so some Microsoft internal data, with a lot of internal communication on Microsoft Teams, and I'm reading it here: 30,000 internal Microsoft Teams messages from around 400 Microsoft employees, and it's actually pretty big. It's Microsoft, so maybe we will read it as yet another news from Microsoft. But if this was done by another, maybe smaller company, it was it would have been a very, very big deal, right? um, so yeah, we're talking once again about the this is not a misconfiguration this time. I will probably say that it's just a poor behaving, and just not being aware that, if you're sharing code, if there are some hard coded credentials in there, maybe you should be aware of that, and you should not share it with the open public. And I think a very good point that we can discuss about is the thing that even in the biggest companies, even in the very technical companies like Microsoft, of course, uh, which is also a security provider, there are security issues, there are security problems that they not so easily can fix, apparently. So how do you look at that? Like, would you expect from such a company to not be doing such things at all, just because they are Microsoft, they cannot do that, or what else?
Like I don't know. Come on, we are just like people, human beings. So we are the weakest link, and it doesn't really matter if you work at Microsoft or like Windows or whatever, big names or like small names. So we have bad days too. And like I'm thinking about Brenda from marketing that was spicy texting with Brad from whatever, and like whole world can see their conversations now. So yeah, so yeah, I think yeah, we are just people. So just, I don't know, have some grace, not be too judgmental, but obviously they yeah, that's not a super great thing to have leaked tokens like that, but and yeah, messages, but yeah, come on.
I mean, it's a very recurrent thing. Like, yeah, I'm trying to not be judgmental in this case, right? But this is something that we see pretty often, where most of the time a developer wants to share it something and to make it open source and to publish it on GitHub or similar platforms. And we also read some researches in the past, where if you scan the entire GitHub, you can find thousands and more of credentials that are in there, free to be used. Uh, I'm actually joking. Don't go and use that. Some countries that's not legal. But the thing is that you know if you're we said it before, right? Attackers can be smart. Attackers will find their way into your network. But maybe if you don't start giving them the keys, right? That's the very first start. So even though
Yeah, it would be
that's
nice.
right,
Yeah.
uh, even though that's probably a small project inside Microsoft that is very huge, that have a lot of people in there, it's pretty clear that at this point, there's no security people in that specific team that is making sure everything is done, as secure as possible, right? Two things: they were sharing credential tokens publicly, and once you got access to that resource, you had full access, full read and write access to everything. So it means that, they were doing it in the worst way possible. That I understand why, because I've been there, right? You want to be quick, you want to just be effective in your work, and don't think too much about what you're doing. You're just doing your stuff. But something can happen, and there could be consequences to your own project. I mean, as an individual, does it make sense to you? Like, you as a developer, I understand you have another goal. It's not about securing stuff, it's about building stuff. But your stuff can be broken by other people if you just don't care about securing it. Does it make sense?
Yeah, like just again, like don't be lazy, I guess, and like have someone to double check with you, and not go just wild west, like apply to everything, but just like maybe check and like pay some attention there. But I can understand like they could be overwork, or like there could be some kind of a explanation to that, but it's still like that's a big deal, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, um, there should be probably some sort of a requirement that before you publish something online, someone should review it, right? Someone else, like instead of the one that is just publishing it. I mean, it's always, of course, not that simple. It's very complicated, especially the bigger is the company. In my experience, the more difficult it is.
Oh yeah.
So, of course, it is a challenge. I'm not saying that, once again, they have to be judged because of that. But I really think security is everyone's business, and I mean everyone's. No matter what job you're doing, no matter if you are into security or not, no matter if I also think that even for your personal interests, just, I don't know, your accounts, your social media or whatever, you need to be at least a little aware of security. And so
Yeah.
you should, as a developer in a big company like that, there should be a minimum security knowledge that you should have. I know this could be somewhat, too much to say, maybe a little ideal as a thing, but I really believe that it's
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, as well. Like you should take care, like care about the quality. I don't know, like I do, but yeah, for me it's like mind blowing because it's a pretty big company, and this really hits in their name. Like I think they care about the quality, and I think Microsoft is a good company as well to work in. But yeah, it's like another fuck votes.
um like a very other small thing that is in the news. It's not about the event itself, but at some point, there's like a little interview to I don't know, it's a previous CIO of the company or something, and where they are trying to justify the thing. I understand they have to do it, by the way. They cannot just go in there. Yeah, we did. We fucked up or something, right? They have to say something, of course, and there's a good way in how to do it, and a worse way. The thing is that I was really little surprised when reading about they try to minimize the problem, saying, oh, this is involving only internal data, not data
Not the
from
client.
customers, right? So that's not so bad. I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing to say. Once again, just for the industry, just for the
Yeah,
overall
but
public.
maybe they didn't disclose any customer data like client data, but it's still I don't know, the trust is not 100% there. So maybe the clients feel like feel a bit nervous, like what will happen next? Like you didn't do it this time, but so like I would say not a great explanation there.
Yeah, yeah, like maybe that's the first part, right? Still, customers can still be impacted somehow, for sure. And I understand probably as Microsoft as the best interested in their customers. First of all, of course, they try to patch that part first, right? To make them understand it's not that bad for customers. But I mean, it's still bad if it's internal data, right? I mean, if you are, maybe it's not this case, but if you are leaking your internal source code, people can find vulnerabilities in the same code that maybe customers are using, right? So eventually, one can find a vulnerability that could be used by attackers for Microsoft and Microsoft customers, right? Or I don't know if they can find a way to regenerate similar tokens than the one that they found in the code. They could probably generate tokens to access this other storage points hosted by other customers. I don't know. There could be a
Yeah,
lot.
that's actually a fair point, because you can figure out what is the pattern of the code creation and then create your own codes
I mean,
somehow. I
this
don't
is
know.
this is just an assumption, right?
Yeah,
But technically, it can be possible. I hope it's not the case right now, but it's still a very bad thing if you are sharing your internal data, right?
yeah,
And this is one thing. We don't know how many other are there from Microsoft, from other providers, of course. But it's definitely a big thing. I'd like this to not be minimized too much, because I feel it's a very big deal. Probably will be forgotten, tomorrow, because there's so much out there going on. But from someone reading this just to understand, to learn something out of it, you know, it's a big deal. It's definitely a big deal, no matter if it's involving customers' data or not. This is just, let's say, their PR or something, their marketing way to say it. Companies have to do it. It's part of the game. But as an individual, what we should learn from it is that if you're sharing data, right, if you are getting open access to your internal devices and data and the host and whatever, it's definitely a big deal. It's not about, okay, there's no customer data, so it's fine. Just, I got triggered by it. I don't know why. Okay, so what else? Do you have anything else in mind about this? No, I think it's fine. Could probably jump to the
hmm
final news of today. Um, that I hope I'm not biased. I mean, I'm biased because I'm interested in it, but I really felt like this was a big one to talk about, especially once again for the sake of making people aware, right?
hmm
So what happened here, and I'll try to summarize because the article is very long. Once again, we just talk about a very small part of the facts. So I really encourage anyone to do your research. I will share the articles, read other articles talking about the same stuff as well, and make your own opinion. That's the most important thing. And maybe let us know later via comment or whatever, what's your point of view. The thing here, very summarizing a lot, is that we had another case of a ransomware attack, this time affecting Change Healthcare, that apparently it's some sort of pharmacy insurance provider in the US, a big one. And if you don't know about it, you should at this point, if you're watching this project. Ransomware involves the attacker asking for a ransom, so asking for money to decrypt the data that they encrypted, and also to avoid publishing or leaking the data they exfiltrated, right? So Change Healthcare this time apparently paid a ransom, even though they do not publicly say it. The thing is that when they ask for a ransom, they ask for a ransom in cryptocurrency, and most of the time, cryptocurrency can be traced, can be tracked. And some analysis showed up that payment of $22 million was done to the BlackCat ransomware organization. Uh, Now, this happens, I don't know, multiple times a week probably. The interesting part is that uh, after the payment was done, apparently the attacker group, right, BlackCat itself, decided to completely shut down, right? To say, oh, we are not in business anymore, right? And the thing is that they are ransomware as a service organization. What does it mean? It means that they are providing the malware, they're providing the infrastructure, but the one who actually perpetrate it, so the one who actually attacks the network, is another guy, right? That is just taking a part of the payment for just breaching the network. And this guy this time was not paid because BlackCat take everything, all of the money, shut down, and eventually said, "Oh, it's not my um, uh, it's not my stuff anymore. You take care of it." What's the problem in this? The problem is that um, there's a part of the attackers, so they are called the initial access brokers sometimes, so who get the initial access in the company network. They were not paid, so they're saying, no, we were not paid, so we still have the healthcare data, and we want the money. So the point here is that even though the company paid the ransom, they did not, get anything back. And I really feel like there's the need to say this again, that if you pay some criminals, no one is assuring you that will get anything back, right? And just wanted to chat a little bit about this. What do you think about it? Is there any scenario where paying a ransom, for your opinion, it's something that should be done or could be done?
Yeah, it's like I don't
I
know.
know it's a tricky question.
Yeah, I think you never should pay the ransom because then you like finance the uh, organization so they can attack someone else and do it better and have better resources. But I don't know. I guess it's really stressful for like because it's healthcare and it's a human life on the line. So
Right.
sometimes they decide to pay it just like not to kill people and because they are
Yeah.
responsible and get sued by the families and like whatnot. But so like with healthcare it's not so black and white for me, and I think there should be like some kind of a plan in place in case that happens like in every healthcare organization. But yeah, I wouldn't advise paying the ransom because then as can see like those are like criminals. So I don't know, do you trust criminals? Like I don't know, would you would you trust a criminal to pick up your daughter from kindergarten? I would say maybe an extreme example, but obviously not. But those people can't be trusted. So how how can you trust then after paying the ransom they will not encrypt your data again? Because there are like some cases with double or like triple uh, extortion.
Encryption, right?
So yeah, and encryption. So and yeah, so I actually that's like really interesting to me. So I read about this. So and like in United States, I don't know the law enforcement agencies encourage you to just like contact them first because they can have the encryption keys and they can help you with the situation. But like the criminals can just screw you over. It's the second time. So yeah, I wouldn't advise paying the ransom. But as I said before, it can be really tricky.
Yeah, that's very true, right? I feel like, mm, I mean, you said a very important thing, that there is no black and white. There are a lot of, grays in there, and it's always like that. It's not really simple, especially in the healthcare field. um, but I don't know. I understand why someone would try it, right? I understand why the idea of, okay, I don't know how to do this, or I need to recover everything very, very quickly. So at some point they take the decision, okay, we're gonna pay this. The point is that, first of all, I don't think this should be your only, strategy, or
Yeah,
neither your first or your only strategy, because of course you cannot trust them, right? So the point is that, what if something like this happens, where eventually you will not get anything from the attackers? They will not decrypt it. They will still, risk to leak the data and everything. You have to have a plan B. I would say a plan A, right? Um, because you're still in the first situation, where your data is still encrypted. They still have your data in. They can publish it. So you need another way to address this kind of issue. Um,
yeah,
Now, I think there are a lot of different problems here. Someone was saying in another episode that some countries are even, I can say this, like, um, partly paying for the ransom, because it's a business cost of some sort, right? Like, probably Change Healthcare in this case could ask the government, we had to pay a ransom because we were risking lives here. So this is part of our business, and this is probably something that the government should pay for. I don't know for sure in this specific case, but I know it's a thing. So there are something that is incentivizing the companies to actually pay the ransom, while it's not actually the best thing to do, right? The best thing is always trying to, of course, you should have backups. Those backups should work and everything, which is not always the case. Um, but definitely, this is, I think, the perfect clue, the perfect example, that is saying, anything can happen if you are handling with criminals. Like, they called, um, just argue with each other, and the one who will lose the biggest part is actually the company with hit. It's not about, okay, maybe one guy was not paid their part of the ransom. That's not the that's not the problem here. The problem here is that someone paid 22 millions, and still, they are blocked. Their business is blocked, and they cannot, do whatever they do. It's actually a pretty big topic. I'm actually a little struggling here, because there's as usual, there's no right way to handle things, right?
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know if that makes
So,
sense.
I think like to think about this like in a simple way. So if you're in a hurry, there are like patient's life on the line, and you want to pay the ransom, for example, and then you want to make it quick. And for example, you think if you pay, then it will all go away and go back to like the way before. But that cannot sometimes cannot be the case, and then you just wasted the time and money that you could just have for like some kind of like a backup infrastructure or uh, response and business continuity plan in place. So you're wasting time like with even talking with those people when you could be just doing your own thing in the meantime, right? If you just like cut the I don't know, the network access, or like I don't know. So it's not that simple. I was trying to. There's like a lot of puzzles to
Yeah,
that story.
I mean, one big thing is for sure what you mentioned before, like the fact that um, it's always in a business level much easier to get the money when you have a problem than actually having the budget to secure your system in advance, right?
Yeah.
That's something that happens everywhere. It's just difficult to justify a big budget like a million plus budget to secure your system to try to prevent this kind of issues. And maybe I'm sure they spent some money already on security, right? It's not like they were completely blank, but still, I'm pretty sure that they did not have 22 millions to spend in security before, and eventually, in just few days or few weeks, they can get that kind of money. I think there's a problem in that kind um, of approach of businesses, right?
Yeah, but
Let me.
like I think that's like a very human thing as well. So even I don't know if you fly somewhere like in a plane, so you never think that you will crash in that place. You think like it will not happen to me. I know that happens to other people, but not to me. So it's like I think it's like a very human thing as well. So you just don't think that you can be hit by ransomware and like be attacked. So you think like it's not a big deal. You just like fire all of your security staff and then everything is like great. You can get like a big bonus and go to Hawaii. But I don't know. Not everything is so. Yeah.
I mean, I could argue, right, that if you take the same example you said with flights and everything, before for a big plane, before being able to actually fly it, there are a lot of security measures in place to ensure that plane will not crash at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was an history of developing of planes to make sure they were as secure as possible because of course there were physical lives at risk in that thing. So at some point a big company spent a lot of money just to build their planes to make them secure before even making money out of it, right? I feel just that at this point still we don't have I don't want to say the same, but a similar, how can I say this,
Appro-
perception,
approach.
right? Yeah, approach to the security risk, to the data risk, right? As compared to other kind of risks like physical lives in this case. And as we can see with the healthcare, industry, at some point there could be lives at stake for for a security issue like this, right? So I will probably expect, I know it's not like this right now, but I will probably expect that at some point we will get to have the same kind of approach, the same kind of perception at risks involving, data and infrastructures. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, actually there were some reported deaths due to ransomware already. So
Yeah,
it's already happening. So yeah. Uh,
yeah, absolutely right. It's I mean, we probably still need some evolution, I would say, as a society, as a I don't know, as an industry. But yeah, probably we already did a lot of improvements if we just compare to, I don't know, 10 or 20 years ago. I mean, I can see that, and I'm still pretty young, and like I don't work for a lot of time, not more than 10 years. So probably we just always need more, right? And we don't look at how was it in the past. Um,
but
but I
yeah,
mean, that's
actually, yeah,
yeah. Go for
as
it.
uh, yeah, I forgot what I wanted to say.
I was just saying that that's the only way we can improve. We always look for doing more, having more budget, working more on that stuff before getting breached. I think that's the only way to go, no matter what, like no matter how we improved so far.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I agree with you. And like have some like a plan in place. Uh, uh, give your staff some training so they are aware of the risk, and like they're vigilant, and like I don't know, even with like the phishing campaigns, and so you give them like training so they know what to expect, and like what are the like the signs that they should look for. And so I don't know, just train the people, because people are like the weakest link, and it's not really their fault. It's like they don't really, they don't always have the knowledge that is needed to react in a certain way. So yeah,
They're just humans, right?
yeah,
It's in the nature of humans to be um, somewhat vulnerable in some
yeah,
way. Right? We have our own biases that are basically human vulnerabilities, and yeah, it's a definitely big topic, tricky topic as well. Um, I mean, I think it could even start at a lower level. Of course, businesses and organizations have to put some effort in training their staff and everything. But I feel like just someone reading this kind of news, right, in their free time, it's already raising a little bit the awareness about this kind of problems, right? Someone who is not getting, let's say, their, I don't know, their pharmacy staff in the US because of this problem will read about this, and if they were not already, they will be aware of this kind of security risks and what can be involved. And I think that I like, of course, I like to think that I'm trying to contribute to that a little bit with this project, just because if we can read this kind of things and discuss about it all together, we can all learn about it. Maybe someone who is watching this will talk about it with some friends who are not in security, and they will be a little more aware compared to just yesterday. Hopefully, someone watching this agrees with me. Let me know, in a comment and everything. For now, thank you so much, Dorota, for giving me the pleasure to discuss with you about this stuff. It was pretty nice for me. Hopefully for you too. Mm, but yeah, I think that's it. Any any last words for our public today?
yeah. Actually, like from the last article, what I took, like my point of view was like what a tricky way to work with your affiliates, so you just get the 24 million for yourself and then not pay them, and say, oh, the feds took our page, and like we are screwed by the law enforcement, but they are just like, we take all the money and not pay you anymore, and like, bye.
I mean, as we said, they're criminals, right?
Yeah,
So you could expect the unexpected, I would say.
yeah, but
But
like
yeah,
in an interesting exit strategy, you would say.
yeah, it is very interesting. They're calling it like a exit scam, in some way. I really, once again, I will share the link in the description of the video. So have a read of that one, because I think it's very very interesting. And actually, articles from Brian Krebs are most of the time very interesting to me. So I really uh, very suggest everyone to have a read of all the other articles as well. But I think that's it. I don't want to take more time from you, Dorota, and for the people watching this. Thank you so much, Dorota, and everyone who is watching this. Once again, feel free to share it and subscribe and like or whatever, and rewatch it after we will not be live anymore. So
Yeah, so
that's it.
thank you for inviting me, and like, bye.
Thank you so much, and have a great day, night, or whatever. Bye, everyone.